They thought it would be an easy warning shot, a dark sedan, a crowded biker yard, a family they believed stood unprotected. But the moment that window rolled down, justice found them instead. Because standing in the line of fire was a former Navy SEAL with a shattered knee, a warrior who had already survived wars most men never return from. And beside him, a German shepherd trained to face down monsters. 20 seconds. That's all it took for courage to strike back, for karma to flip the script, and for 1,000 bikers to rise as one. Before the full story unfolds, tell us where you're watching from. Share this video with someone who still believes in justice. Comment your city below, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories of courage, loyalty, and redemption. The unemployed soldier and the hunter's instinct. The summer heat settled low over Silver Creek, heavy as a wet blanket and bright as hammered copper. Cole Bennett walked along the sun-bleached sidewalk with the steady, measured gait of a man who had learned to push through pain without showing it. He was in his early 40s, tall and broad-shouldered, built from years of punishing drills and battlefield discipline. His once rigid posture had softened only slightly by a lingering injury to his left knee, a wound earned during a breaching operation that never fully left him. His face was all angles and resolve, with a square jaw darkened by a neatly trimmed beard that hid a thin scar running from the corner of his chin toward his neck. His deep brown eyes carried the quiet watchfulness of someone who had seen far too much to ever relax fully. Beside him walked Rex, a 5-year-old German shepherd with black and tan fur, a thick chest, and an alert, intelligent gaze. Rex wore a well-fitted black harness stamped with bold white letters. Service dog, do not pet. His ears were always in motion, tilting toward every passing sound with a soldier's readiness. If Cole was a dormant storm, then Rex was the flash of lightning waiting inside it. Cole had been unemployed for 6 months now, picking up odd jobs when his knee allowed, and surviving mostly on a modest veteran's stipend. He hated depending on it, hated needing anything at all. Ever since leaving the Navy SEALs, a decision forced by that injured knee, he had felt like a weapon set aside on a dusty shelf, still sharp but forgotten. Silver Creek was supposed to be a quiet stop, a place to breathe. Instead, it reminded him daily how aimless life felt without mission or command. Sweat trickled beneath his faded Navy jacket, a relic from his service days. He wore it even in the heat, partly from habit, partly because it made him feel anchored to the man he once was. Rex trotted close to his left side, matching Cole's pace with practiced synchronicity. The pair moved like a single organism. One mind, 2 bodies, each sensing the world for the other. As they approached Roadhouse Grill and Bar, the smell of grilled meat drifted across the parking lot in thick ribbons. Motorcycles glittered in the afternoon sun, lined up in proud chromed rows. Rock music thumped faintly from behind the open back door. A cluster of bikers laughed near the entryway, their leather vests marked with the emblem of Steel Wolves MC. Cole wasn't looking for trouble, but experience had taught him that trouble had a habit of noticing him. His eyes scanned the angles, distance to cover, shadows behind the dumpster, reflective surfaces that could hide movement. Even here, even now, the instinct to assess and adapt never left him. Rex felt it too. The dog slowed, nose lifting, pupils narrowing slightly. A silent exchange passed between man and E, something deeper than speech. That was when Cole heard the gravel crunch under a heavy boot. A man stepped out from the shade of the bar's side wall. He was tall, broad, and built like he could lift a motorcycle with one arm. His beard was thick and sun-streaked, his hair dark and unruly, and his vest carried the Steel Wolves patch with the title Vice President stitched proudly beneath it. His skin was tanned from long rides under the Texas sun, and his eyes, light gray with flecks of blue, held an unexpected sharpness, like he saw more than he let on. "Afternoon," the man said, voice deep but not unfriendly. "Name's Logan Price." Cole stopped, shoulders shifting only a fraction. He didn't fear much anymore, but he respected someone who walked like they had earned their ground. Rex stood completely still, ears pricked, gaze fixed on Logan with patient assessment. Logan's eyes dropped to Rex's harness, then rose again. "Service dog, huh? Looks like he could take on half the county." "He won't start anything," Cole said quietly, "but he'll finish it if he has to." Logan let out a low whistle, the kind a man makes when he has just identified a kindred threat. "I can tell. And you," he gestured at Cole with a slight tilt of his chin, "you move like someone who's been trained to see danger before it arrives." "Old habits," Cole replied. Seal habits, Logan corrected, his voice certain. I've had my share of friends come back from deployments. You carry the same air, that mix of exhaustion and readiness, like a spring coiled for the wrong kind of day. Cole didn't answer, but his silence was confirmation enough. Logan paused, studying him, then nodded toward the bar. You look like you haven't had a real meal in a while. Come on. Burgers are hot. On me. Cole hesitated. He wasn't used to acceptance, not without suspicion hiding under it. Yet, there was no pity in Logan's tone, only recognition and something like respect. Rex sniffed the air once, then looked up at Cole as if urging him forward. Inside the roadhouse's back patio, the smell of charred beef mingled with warm summer air. Laughter rose from tables full of bikers, men and women, some tattooed, some worn by the sun, each with their own gravity. Logan led Cole to a shaded table near the fence, and a server brought out burgers stacked high with melted cheese, along with fries salted just right. Cole took the first bite slowly. It was simple food, but after months of uncertainty, it tasted like a reminder that he was still human, not just a broken weapon left behind. Logan watched him for a moment, then said, Most folks don't see it, but I can. You and that dog, you're danger on a leash, the kind of danger that scares the hell out of cowards. Cole didn't smile often, but he allowed the corner of his mouth to lift. For the first time in months, he realized he wasn't being treated like a stray or a burden. He was being treated like a man who mattered, a man someone might trust. And the Roadhouse Grill, loud and imperfect, might be the first place in a long time where he wasn't entirely alone. Summer heat, motorcycles, and an unexpected family. The late summer sun pressed hard against Silver Creek, turning every chrome motorcycle in the parking lot of Roadhouse Grill and Bar into a strip of blinding silver. Cole Bennett wiped a smear of grease from his palm as he finished tightening the bolts on a wobbling fence post near the back lot. His movements were steady and economical, shaped by years of missions where wasting even a second meant losing the advantage. The ache in his left knee pulsed rhythmically, but he moved through it, refusing to limp when anyone was watching. Beside him, Rex lay in the shade beneath a picnic table, front paws crossed, amber eyes sharp as he tracked every voice, footstep, and clatter of plates. Rex looked relaxed, but any thug with instinct would sense the danger beneath that calm. He was a silent warning. This man, and this dog, were not to be provoked. Cole had been working at the Roadhouse for nearly a week now, thanks to Logan Price's introduction. Logan, the Steel Wolves vice president, strode across the gravel lot now, tall and broad, his leather vest unbuttoned in the heat. His beard caught the sunlight, and sweat darkened his temples, but his stride carried an easy confidence, earned from years balancing loyalty, leadership, and the rough edges of outlaw politics. You fixed the fence? Logan's voice boomed like he expected the world to answer him. Should hold through another storm, Cole replied, testing the post once more. Logan grinned beneath his thick beard. Storm season's still a month off, but good to be ready. Preparedness. Something Cole respected. Something he once lived by. A soft whistle broke the air. When Cole turned, he saw a woman approaching from the side entrance of the bar. She moved with the brisk efficiency of someone used to tight spaces and emergencies. Emma Price, Logan's wife, carried a first aid kit in one hand and a tall glass of water in the other. She was in her mid-30s, average height, with warm olive skin and dark hair pulled into a low bun. Her brown eyes were clear and calm, the eyes of an ER nurse who had stood beside both miracles and tragedies. You look like you're about to fall over from heat stroke, she said, handing Cole the water. Her tone was gentle but firm, the way nurses speak when they intend to be obeyed. Cole nodded his thanks, just finishing up. Emma smiled, though lines of fatigue tugged lightly at the corners of her eyes. Logan tells me you've been a big help, and that Rex keeps half the drunks better behaved than our security cameras. Cole looked down at Rex, who thumped his tail once before returning to sentinel mode. He's good at his job. Like his handler, Emma replied. Before Cole could respond, a small figure darted around Emma's legs. Chloe Price, 8 years old, sun-kissed skin, freckles scattered across her nose, bright blue eyes full of curiosity, skidded to a stop beside Rex. Her blonde ponytail bounced with the sudden halt. "Hot, Rex," she chirped. Rex's ears perked, but he stayed still, waiting. Chloe clasped her hands behind her back, remembering the rule Cole had taught her on their second meeting. "May I pet him?" she asked, eyes wide with anticipation. "You may," Cole said with a nod. Chloe gently scratched Rex behind the ears. Rex leaned into her touch, eyes half closed in what counted as pure bliss for a working dog. Emma watched the scene unfold with a softness that contrasted the hard demands of her hospital shifts. "She adores him," she said. "I don't think I've ever seen her warm up to anyone that fast." Cole's voice lowered. "Rex is careful with kids, always has been." Logan joined them, wiping sweat from his brow. "Yeah, well, the rest of us grown men still trying to figure out if he likes us or if he's just being polite." "He tolerates you," Cole said, deadpan. Logan let out a booming laugh that drew the attention of several bikers lounging near their motorcycles. The Steel Wolves were a rowdy bunch. Broad shoulders, tattooed arms, leather vests patched with road dust. But beneath the tough exteriors was an unspoken code Cole had recognized immediately: protection, loyalty, boundaries that even the heat of August could not bend. They joked loudly, cursed freely, but never crossed certain lines. No threats to women, no harm to children, no betrayal of brothers. In a world that had felt increasingly unpredictable since he left the SEALs, this order, this strange gritty morality, soothed him. He felt eyes on him and turned. A young biker, lanky and tattooed, stood near a row of Harleys. He was in his 20s, with sandy hair and a mischievous grin that didn't quite meet his eyes. His name was Ty Garner, a lower-ranking member who had more swagger than sense. Ty lifted his chin slightly, studying Cole in the way insecure men sometimes inspect threats they don't fully understand. Emma noticed the glance. "Ignore Ty," she murmured. "He's harmless." Cole knew better. Harmless men didn't stare like that. Harmless men didn't test boundaries. Rex growled under his breath, quiet, controlled, but unmistakable. Ty looked away. Logan smirked. "See? Your dog does half my work." Cole surveyed the lot again. Motorcycles glinted under the sun. Chloe's laughter mixed with the clink of beer glasses. Emma wiped her hands on her scrubs, readying herself for a hospital night shift. Logan crossed his arms, pride radiating from him as he watched his family interact with this new, unlikely addition. Cole felt something unfamiliar stir beneath his ribs. Belonging, maybe temporary, maybe fragile, but real. He wasn't just a lone soldier drifting between towns anymore, not today. And though the thugs and small-time criminals who roamed Silver Creek didn't yet know it, a Navy SEAL and a battle-trained dog had quietly stepped into the heart of town. If violence ever came knocking, they would learn what a fatal mistake that truly was. SEAL instincts and the roar of summer. The Friday night heat clung to Silver Creek like steam rising from asphalt after a storm. The Roadhouse's backyard was packed shoulder to shoulder with bikers, families, and the usual crowd that came hunting for music, cold beer, and the comfort of loud voices. Lantern strings glowed overhead, blinking in the warm air, throwing gold across leather vests and bare arms. Children chalked crooked stars and lopsided wolves on the cement near the picnic tables. Laughter rolled through the yard, blending with rock music vibrating from outdoor speakers. Cole Bennett stood near the far edge of the lot, where the fence cast a slanted shadow across the gravel. His posture appeared relaxed, hands in pockets, shoulders loose, but every muscle beneath his faded navy jacket was listening. His eyes flicked without moving his head, tracing exits, blind spots, and elevated surfaces like he was mapping the deck of a ship before a breach. Old instincts, necessary ones. Rex lay half-curled at Cole's feet, head resting on his paws, but his ears rotated like tiny radar dishes. The German shepherd's thick coat shimmered under the patio lights. He looked like a dog drifting toward sleep, yet every tendon was ready to launch at the smallest command. Anyone watching closely enough, anyone dangerous, would see the truth. The man and the dog were a loaded spring. Near the center tables, Logan Price sat with 3 senior Steel Wolves. They were easy to pick out. Broader shoulders, thicker vests, and the calm, unblinking confidence of men who had already lived through their own brawls, betrayals, and backroads wars. Among them sat Frank Hawkeye Miles, a weathered biker in his late 50s, tall and lean, with silver hair pulled into a low tie. His narrow brown eyes gave him the nickname, eyes that saw everything, even when he pretended they didn't. Frank had once worked as a long-haul driver for 20 years before losing his brother to a gang dispute, and since then he rarely laughed unless he meant it. Cole respected him instantly. Inside the bar, Emma guided Chloe, now sticky with melted ice cream, toward the back door. Emma's dark hair clung to her temples in the heat, and her blue scrubs, still on from her hospital shift, held faint creases from hours of movement. She greeted people as they passed, smiling gently the way only someone accustomed to comforting strangers could. A new voice suddenly cut through the noise. "Refill over here," called Sarah Lindell, a waitress in her early 30s with strawberry blonde hair pulled into a messy ponytail. She was tall and long-limbed, her freckles lit by lantern light. Sarah moved quickly between tables with a practiced grace. She had survived a rough divorce a year earlier, and the mix of resilience and tenderness in her face told Cole she had learned to stand up on her own again. Everyone said Sarah was kind until someone crossed her. Cole respected that too. The evening felt ordinary. Then it didn't. The first black sedan glided past the alley opening like a shadow that didn't belong. Cole noticed the angle of the tires, the slow sweep of tinted windows, the way the driver kept the headlights low, as if hoping not to draw attention. Suspicion pricked him, but he said nothing, cataloging the details quietly. When the sedan returned a second time, slower, closer, Rex rose without command. The dog's posture shifted from resting companion to combat sentinel in a heartbeat. His fur lifted along his spine. A rumble vibrated through his chest. Soft, but unmistakably territorial. Cole's throat tightened. He didn't need more signs. The seal inside him awakened like a door slamming open. He turned his body slightly, letting his good knee brace and his injured knee angle outward for balance. His heart didn't race. It steadied. His breathing thinned until it was nearly soundless. The world sharpened into angles and distances. The stretch from the sedan to the back door, from the chalk drawings to the wooden tables, from the sheltering fence to the far picnic bench where Frank sat. Cole saw everything at once. The sedan slowed to a crawl. Tinted glass concealed the shape inside, but movement caught the corner of Cole's vision, a glint of metallic color reflecting the lantern lights. Weapon. His pulse didn't spike, it flattened into focus. He made his calculations. Wind blowing left to right, gunman's angle near 30 degrees. Line of fire aimed toward the back door, toward Emma and Chloe. He took one step forward, barely shifting his weight, when Frank's gravelly voice carried across the yard. "You see that, Cole?" Cole didn't answer. Rex stood perfectly still beside him, teeth just visible between parted lips. Across the lot, Logan pushed up from his seat, brow furrowed. "Something wrong?" Cole's voice was low, controlled, dangerous. "Don't move." The back door swung open then, and Emma stepped out, wiping her hands with a napkin. Chloe trailed behind, chattering about sprinkles and chocolate sauce. Neither looked toward the street. The sedan's window dipped 2 inches. Metal shimmered again. Cole felt the shift inside himself, the one every SEAL learns, the one that flips fear into precision. He had once been told that this instinct made him a threat to any thug alive. Tonight, that warning was about to matter. He inhaled once, shallow and fast. The entire yard still buzzed with music and chatter. No one else had seen it. No one else felt the temperature of danger drop. But Cole had. And in the final second before everything broke, he knew one thing with absolute clarity. The roadhouse was about to become a battlefield. Rex, the gunfire, and the shield of flesh and bone. The moment the sedan's window slid down, the world seemed to inhale and hold its breath. Cole Bennett didn't think. He reacted with the trained brutality of a Navy SEAL whose instincts had been carved by battlefields oceans away. His voice, sharp, commanding, and unmistakably forged in combat, ripped across the crowded yard. "Down!" The shout cut through laughter, music, clinking bottles, and summer chatter. For a split second, everyone froze in place, suspended in confusion. Rex moved first. The German Shepherd exploded forward like a fired arrow, muscles rippling beneath his black and tan coat. His paws struck the pavement in rapid succession, claws scraping as he sprinted toward the back door, where Emma had just nudged Chloe outside. His ears were pinned forward, hackles raised, teeth bared in an instinctive snarl only true warriors understood. Rex's entire body had transformed from calm sentinel to avenging guardian. The first shot tore through the night. Glass shattered above the nearest table, sending shards raining like glittering ice. A beer bottle burst apart, spraying foam across the cement. Screams erupted, tables overturned, chairs toppled into frantic bodies scrambling for cover. Cole ran. His injured knee should have slowed him, but adrenaline burned through every limitation. His boots scraped against the pavement as he pushed off, launching himself across the yard. Logan Price, broad, bearded, and barely rising from his seat, found himself shoved aside as Cole slammed a forearm into his shoulder, throwing him clear of the widening line of fire. "Get down!" Cole barked. Logan hit the gravel, cursing in shock, then looked up to see why. The sedan's muzzle flashed again. Rex reached Chloe just as the second shot ricocheted off a metal railing. The dog leapt sideways, twisting midair. His body collided with the little girl, knocking her toward the shelter of the wall. Chloe let out a terrified gasp, stumbling but staying upright. Rex planted himself between her and the shooter, standing rigid, jaws parted, ready to die before letting a single bullet reach her. Emma screamed her daughter's name. Cole didn't break stride. He grabbed Emma by the arm, yanked Chloe to his chest, and dragged both behind a heavy wooden table bolted to the ground. He pivoted his shoulders, widening his frame so the table and his own body aligned to form a barrier. Years of room-clearing drills had taught him exactly how to use angles, height, and mass to minimize casualties. Another bullet slammed into his right shoulder. Cole grunted, feeling the hot bloom of pain tear through muscle. His vision sharpened instead of blurring. That was the curse, and the gift, of elite training. Pain meant focus. Focus meant survival. A fourth round grazed his ribcage, ripping through his jacket and burning across his side. His breath hitched, but he stayed upright, crouched over. Emma and Chloe like a living shield. Rex snarled again as a stray shot clipped his harness. The dog yelped, not out of fear, but fury, and lowered his stance, ready to lunge if the attacker ever stepped foot inside the yard. Children were crying now. Adults scrambled on hands and knees. The air filled with splintered wood, pulverized concrete, and the metallic sting of gunpowder. Frank Hawkeye Miles, lean, gray-haired, steady as stone, yanked a young biker behind an overturned barrel. His voice, usually soft, snapped commands like a former infantryman he had once been before truck driving stole him away from uniform and war. Sarah Lindell, the strawberry blonde waitress, dove behind an ice cooler, pulling a stunned couple with her. Her long limbs trembled, but her jaw clenched with the stubbornness of a woman who had already survived too much in life to let bullets take her down now. Emma clutched Chloe to her chest, whispering prayers and reassurances through shaking breaths. Her scrubs, once clean, were now streaked with dust and flecks of shattered glass. Tears streaked her cheeks even as she tried to keep her voice steady for her daughter. Cole didn't dare look away from the sedan. He shifted again, pushing Chloe deeper behind the table. His injured knee screamed at the angle, but he forced the joint to hold. His breath came shallow, controlled. He tasted copper on his tongue. Then, silence, followed by the screech of tires. The sedan peeled away from the curb, fishtailing across the asphalt before disappearing into the dark avenue beyond the roadhouse. The attack had lasted less than 20 seconds, but the wreckage, physical, emotional, and psychological, felt like the aftermath of a much longer war. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then engines roared. One motorcycle, then 3, then 20. The steel wolves surged to life, a wave of black leather and gleaming chrome. Logan rose from the ground, fury twisted into every hard line of his face. He shouted something to his men, orders, vengeance, he didn't care which. And the yard erupted as bikers sprinted toward their machines. But before Logan could rush after his brothers, he turned and saw Cole. Cole, bleeding heavily. Cole, still crouched protectively. Cole, who had taken the bullets meant for his wife and his child. And Rex, standing guard, chest heaving, but refusing to move from Chloe's side. Emma dropped to her knees, hands trembling as she reached for Cole's face. "You're hit," she whispered, voice cracking. Cole managed a breath, then a tight nod. "But you're alive," she said, tears streaking her cheeks. "You saved us. You saved my daughter." Rex pressed his body against Cole's leg, whining softly, as if urging him not to fall. The night was still ringing with the echoes of violence, but inside that circle of fear and gratitude, one truth settled heavily. The thugs had come to intimidate a biker club. Instead, they had crossed paths with a Navy SEAL and his war-forged dog, two predators far more dangerous than any street criminal could ever imagine. 1,000 engines and a soldier's new home. The ambulance tore across Silver Creek's main road, beneath the harsh glare of streetlights, each passing lamp strobing through the vehicle's windows like distant muzzle flashes. Inside, the air was thick with antiseptic, sweat, and the metallic scent of blood. Cole Bennett lay strapped to the gurney, his shirt cut open, gauze pressed hard against the wounds in his shoulder and side. His skin had gone pale beneath the dried dust and gunpowder, the lines of his face drawn tight with pain. Yet his eyes, half open, fighting to stay conscious, held the same steady focus he had worn in combat zones. His breathing was shallow, measured, as if he refused to let his own injuries dictate the terms of his survival. Beside him, Rex lay on the ambulance floor, a medic crouched at his side. The German shepherd's flank was stained with blood where the bullet had grazed his harness and tore into skin. His black and tan fur bristled with every bump of the road, but his gaze never left Cole. Even wounded, Rex kept his head lifted, amber eyes locked on the stretcher, as if daring the world to come any closer. The medic working on the dog, Dr. Arlo Vance, a lean man in his early 40s with sandy brown hair and a kind but harried expression, kept one hand stabilizing Rex's injured side. He wore a simple paramedic uniform, sweat darkening the collar. Arlo had been a veterinarian before switching to emergency response after losing a beloved rescue dog during a wildfire deployment. The shift in careers had hardened him, but a gentleness still remained in the way he spoke to animals. "He's holding up better than some men I've treated," Arlo muttered, threading a needle to close Rex's wound. Logan Price sat in the corner of the ambulance, big shoulders hunched forward, hands trembling uncontrollably. His leather vest, patched with the insignia of steel wolves, glistened with smears of Cole's blood. Logan wasn't a man easily shaken. Years of riding, bar fights, and managing outlaw politics had carved thick mental armor over him. But tonight, that armor had cracked. He reached out and gripped Cole's wrist, voice low and hoarse. "You stay with us, brother. You hear me? Don't you check out now." Cole managed a faint grunt, the closest he could get to reassurance. Behind the ambulance, a growing thunder followed. Motorcycles, dozens of them, hundreds. The convoy of steel wolves had formed within minutes of the shooting, rough men and women who, moments earlier, had been drinking under lantern lights. Now they rode with grim purpose, headlights slicing through the dark, exhaust fumes rolling like battle smoke. By the time the ambulance reached Silver Creek General Hospital, the parking lot had begun to transform into a sea of chrome and black leather. A few nurses standing outside froze at the sight of the incoming wave. First 50 bikes, then 100, then more, roaring in, like a tide summoned by fury. Inside, doors burst open as ER staff rushed Cole to surgery. Emma, still wearing dust and tiny shards of glass on her scrubs, ran beside the stretcher until she was forced to stop at the double doors. Her dark hair clung to her cheeks, her eyes red and wild with fear. A nurse held her back gently. "He's strong. They'll do everything they can." Behind Emma, Chloe stood gripping Rex's collar as the dog limped into the waiting room. The little girl, her ponytail messy and face streaked with dried tears, pressed her forehead against Rex's side. The dog lowered his head, breathing deep, wounded but alert. Hours passed. Word spread faster than summer wildfire. Seal blocks gunfire to save Logan's family. Service dog stands guard over child during drive-by. The story leaped from biker to biker across county lines. Rival clubs, men who wouldn't normally share a sidewalk, parked side by side beneath the hospital's fluorescent lights. Engines cooled, but tempers burned hotter with each new rumor. By 1 in the morning, the lot held nearly 300 motorcycles. By dawn, more than 1,000. Some stood with folded arms, some smoked in silence, others prayed. All of them waited. Inside the surgery wing, Dr. Rowan Tate, chief trauma surgeon, mid-50s, stern-faced with silver-threaded beard, fought to stabilize Cole. Tate had served 3 tours as a Navy medic before becoming a civilian surgeon, and had seen enough battlefield trauma to know a fighter when he operated on one. He worked with efficient aggression, his deep-set hazel eyes narrowing each time Cole's vitals dipped. "This one's not dying today," Rowan muttered to his team, "not after taking bullets for a family that isn't even his." 6 hours later, he stepped into the waiting room. Logan rose to his feet like a man prepares for a verdict. "He's alive," Rowan said. "Critical, but stable. It will be days before he wakes, if his body holds." Emma broke into silent sobs of relief. Chloe hugged Rex tightly, and the dog's tail thumped weakly on the linoleum. When Cole finally opened his eyes, 2 days later, the first thing he saw was Logan slumped in a chair, head dipped forward, beard matted, leather vest smeared with dried blood. The second thing he felt was a small hand holding his fingers. Chloe. Beside her, Rex rested with his side bandaged, keeping quiet vigil. Emma leaned over the bed, tears welling. "You came back to us," she whispered. Thank God. Logan scrubbed a hand over his face. You saved my whole world, Cole. Cole tried to speak, but pain seized his ribs. He managed only a whisper. Everyone safe? Because of you, Logan said. 2 days later, Logan entered with a folded leather jacket. He set it on Cole's lap with reverence, a wolf's head patch, and beside it, a smaller emblem, Navy SEAL. You're family now, Logan said, whether you ride or not. When the police later identified the shooters through traffic cameras, words circulated through Silver Creek's underbelly like a warning bell. The thugs had targeted the wrong crowd. More dangerously, they had targeted a former Navy SEAL and his combat-trained dog, a combination predators feared the most. Summer deepened. Cole healed slowly, but not alone. One late afternoon, sunlight spilled across Logan's porch. Cole sat on the steps, knee aching, Rex resting his head on Cole's thigh, eyes half closed. Peace, fragile but real, settled over them. In the distance, the rumble of motorcycles echoed like drums of a tribe gathering. For the first time since leaving the Navy, Cole did not brace for the sound. This time, it meant home. In the end, some people said it was luck that kept Logan's family alive that night. Others said it was training, instinct, or the courage of a Navy SEAL who refused to let darkness win. But those who were there, the ones who heard the gunfire, who saw the man and his dog rise between danger and innocence, they whispered something different. They said it felt like a hand greater than any of them had moved through that yard, that maybe God sends his angels in uniforms we do not expect. Sometimes in worn boots, sometimes with a wounded knee, sometimes on 4 legs with a loyal heart. And as summer moved on, people in Silver Creek carried that truth with them, that miracles are not always grand or shining. They are often quiet, hidden in the bravery of ordinary days, in the steady love of a family, in the courage to protect a stranger, in the small choices that ripple through a whole community. If this story touched you, I invite you to take a moment, just a small one. Pray for the protectors in your life. Pray for the wounded ones still learning how to heal, and may God watch over you, your family, and every road you travel. Before you go, share this story with someone who needs hope today. Tell us where you are watching from in the comments. And if you believe courage is still alive in this world, hit subscribe so these messages of faith, grace, and everyday miracles can reach even more hearts. May the Lord bless you and keep you. And may his quiet miracles find their way to your doorstep.